Hello, and welcome to another Toon Boom Creator interview. This week, we're hosting a conversation with an animator who works with pencil, pen, paper, and pixel. Pinot was one of the artists to contribute to the Harmony 20 demo video and is here with us live right now to answer questions from our community. It's really difficult to sum up a person's work in only a few sentences, but Pinot, how would you describe your career and the work that you do?
Yeah, thank you. Hi, my name is Pinot. I become animator not just years ago, but I learned about animation back when I was kid. My dad used to be an animator back then, but because of the industry is not mature enough back in our home country, so he preferred to teach the animation at home with his kids. So I start learning about hand drawing animation, 2D animation with papers at a time. And along the way, I graduated the college and become a motion graphic designer. That's more reasonable profession at a time. So I just become a motion graphic for years, and then 2013 I become an animator on the social media.
So to our viewers, if you have a question for Pinot, please feel free to let us know in the chat, and we might ask it live right here on Twitch. So Pinot, what was your journey to being a motion designer to beginning to animate? Like, what was that like?
So it's just like a roller coaster situation, and back in that time, it's not easy to become an artist. It's not easy to get a work, a job, and then I have kids, I have family to feed. So motion graphic was one of the options that I can still animate something with the computers and the technology, the software. But again, I still have a passion to create a motion picture. So for me, every picture has to be moved, has to be changed, the rotation, the scale, and create a story from it. So motion graphics is one of the motion picture storytelling. And then when Vine was released, it's just like another opportunity for me to giving back my childhood, that I still can create 2D animation just for fun at the beginning. So after that, I become more into with 2D animation and become more like fluent into traditional method.
And for our viewers who don't remember, what was Vine?
Okay, it's a one of the video platform, social video platform back in the 2013, released by Twitter. So it's a unique video software because you can only post 6-second video, and you can only pause from your camera, not from the computer, and then export to the Vine. So you have to create on the app itself to create like an animation or special effect based on the Vine itself. It's just like doing like a magician doing like a live performance on the stage. It takes practice. It takes so many preparation to create only for a 6-second video, because it has to be live on that video. Not live, but basically you can only create on that app, on the app itself. Hopefully everybody still remembering why.
Yeah. We have screen sharing open right now. So if you want to take our viewers through just a quick look at some of the clips that you made on Vine, I think that would be a really good way to contextualize the work that you do.
Yeah, I mean this is a very old Vine. So let's say like this one. So when I'm doing this kind of animation, it's like giving a frame by frame. There's some glitch here and there, but that's okay because the story is already there, and people already understand that it has to do it on the app, not with the digital special effect or CGI or something like that. And also it is like a combination between like a 3D virtual 3D, but also 2D animation.
Yeah, when I talk with animators, a lot of the time they'll talk about how they like mistakes, how mistakes show that something is handcrafted, and it gives the viewer a little peek behind the curtain. This was made by a person.
Yeah, yeah. It gives a sense that human can make mistake, and we just need to make peace with that mistake and see that as a happy mistake. It's part of the development. It's part of us as a human, as a human, and trying to either we live with it or we fix it in the next process.
Okay, so I saw we got a question in the chat. This one is from To Be Quinn, and they're asking, "Hi, Mike and Pinot. How would you define your art style? What is or are your favorite things to draw?"
I so I love to combine between the real world and the 2D animation. It gives like a story that we are living in an imagination world. So with that animation, with that kind of animation, it gives like a sense that everything that we can imagine is doable. It's become live. So that's always about like something regular. So I usually create with anything that we can find in our daily life, but because our imagination it becomes something like more like not just paper and pencils, and giving a sense that everybody can do animation as long as they don't have any high expectation. You're just doing it with a very simple way with the papers, even though that you can do it with only one paper and you can erase and drawing at the same time like this one. So it's just like it's animation doesn't have to be a Disney animation. It can be everyday life. Like this one, I just creating like with a eraser only in one paper. So it just I really hope that when people see animation, it's not hopefully they're not overwhelmed, but it's just like we can do it too.
Yeah. I mean, if you just want to show, like a ball bouncing, you don't need a lot of equipment to make that happen. So getting into the video that you made for Harmony 20, what was the prompt that you were given, and how did you interpret that for your scene?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, so getting into the video that you made for the
Yeah.
Harmony 20 demo, what was the prompt that you were given?
It just like it just with the animation. My main story is that animation is the tool bridging between the real world reality and the imagination.
Mhm.
So it's just like the big story, the big thinking about that story itself. We can draw and we can make the imagination alive with our surrounding, with our life. For the idea itself, it's not very original, but I already developed that kind of idea back then with the wine, so like this one. So it's just like the same idea. We can erase and draw, at every single time. So there's just like the loop itself. It gives like we can keep to ask ourselves when is the reality and when is the imagination. I hope that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and I just like the sort of playfulness that you have, that pencil that draws in the hand, and then the other hand that erases the first hand. It's a little bit like that Bugs Bunny cartoon where you have Daffy Duck, and there's an artist who's sort of drawing like flower petals on him. It has that same sort of playfulness to it, and I think that expresses a lot of the joy behind animation. So when looking at this scene, what was the most like technically or artistically challenging element of it, and what are you most proud of?
The most challenge is it's not from the technical standpoint. It's not from the tools itself. It's more the challenge is coming from me, from myself. The challenge is about how debating about how things work and why I keep asking to myself why I'm doing this, why I'm doing this kind of story, and is it okay? Is it doable? Is it smooth enough? So that kind of debating is the one of the challenge that I had. So basically just like between my real hand and um, my real hand and my drawing hand. So I think this animation tells well when I'm fighting with my own hand. So give me seconds. So like the drawing and erasing itself, it's just like a fighting between my own hand. Like I back in the days, I always creating a story between my hand and my.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like a challenge myself, debating myself, asking myself. It's one of the challenges that I usually have. So and also I still have to think of something that it has to be doable. And to be honest, I'm a lazy animator. So I have to create something very simple, but yet giving a tons of story.
Okay, you said you're a lazy animator. I don't believe that. We'll get into that later. Did you use any tools on this project that you wouldn't have otherwise explored?
What do you mean? I mean,
like in in Toon Boom Harmony, were there any features that you found were really useful? Were there any that you tried for the first time?
The one that the one tools that I really connect with me is the bitmap brush. I mean, we have so many software that makes life easier to create like in between, to create automatic between from one frame to another. But the bitmap brush itself, it gives a possibility for me to challenge myself because I'm an animator that usually working with a very spontaneously process and very impulsive, and somehow I have to going back to the scratch again because it's not perfect. I'm a, I'm become a bit very not a bit. Sometimes I feel that I'm so very perfectionist with the process itself, but not because of the plan, but it's more like how I understand myself about my own spontaneity. So the drawing frame by frame with the bitmap brush, it gives a playful, it gives a playground. It gives a new thing, even though in the process, even though that it's different to the original plan. Sometimes I have to make another new plan in the process. For me, that kind of tool that I really need, and I really match with my style.
For your animation process, do you find that because you're not as focused as planning, but you're focused on like the exploration, do you find that you do more straight ahead animation instead of pose to pose?
Sometimes I can do both. Sometimes most of the time I'm more like instant, spontaneously. The moment I got the idea, the moment the bulb is on, I have to do it before the mood is gone. Before I distract with another thing. So I have to do it right away. And when I'm doing it right away, there are so many exploration. I have to keep on the track that it has to be done. It has to be moved and animate at the end. So it's just like a chaotic process.
Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that crop up when you're mixing animation and filmed footage?
The challenge is sometimes when I take the footage first and then animate later on the Toon Boom. I have to going back again to reshoot of the footage because it doesn't match what I need. It doesn't match what I got when in the process. So it's just like a back and forth process. It's very unprofessional, but again, it's just like the exploration is like giving a giving a chance another idea coming. Of course, it's only coming from me, but if it's coming from the other person, I cannot listen. But because it's coming from me, I just answering my own questions. Can I reshoot? Do I have to retake? Do I need another shadow? Do I need another size of the frames because the hand is too big, or maybe because of the movement is too fast? It has to be done in a very short time because this is a very personal project. The moment I got distracted, I might going to continue months later. It sometimes it's not finished.
So we have another question in the chat, and this one is sort of a two-parter. So I'll give you the first one first. The first is, what is your favorite time to work? So like when you're getting up, you're going through routine, when do you sit down to start animating?
I usually having a peaceful situation, not a peaceful, but more playful, but peaceful. I think we need to make the words together. It's minutes before sleep, especially when my kids are already going to sleep. Sometimes they have an idea, a late idea. Sometimes they just giving something like a sparks my ideas, and it's just like I can see it on the software, on the tool, on paper, without anything, without any plan, and I'm just sitting on my desk with my pencils or mouse or tablet and keep my mind wandering, and just and then suddenly like my kids just talking to themselves about game, about something. It's very simple, very basic. It can it can drive me to create something. So usually before sleep I do that kind of routine so I can sleep better after.
So you're showing us that like your work often blends filmed footage and stop motion with rotoscope techniques and other animation techniques. Why do you think that the projects that you share online connect so well with audiences?
Yeah, it's just like because I don't want to stick into one only method. I don't want to stick only in one medium. I don't want to just stick into a paper, but also I want to orchestra the whole medium, the whole platform into one thing. So sometimes I combine with the stop motion, I combine with the 2D animation, I combine with the motion control device to create the multiple angle of cameras. So again, it's just like a process. Something is happening to my head, and I'm just doing it, and people keep asking me why are you doing this? Are you a traditional animation, or are you more doing digital animation or analog animation? I cannot answer that. I usually ending up with answer. I think I'm a hybrid. I'm doing both of them. I'm doing stop motion, but also 2D animation and combining them because because there's so many stories that we and when we are blended together, and sometimes people think that I'm not too crazy with the high technology. It's no. I'm more combined between old technology and high end technology. It's always connecting together. It's better that they are connected together because we can find another method, another story with it.
Yeah, I mean the fundamental techniques behind stop motion animation and traditional frame by frame animation and digital animation, it's all animation, right?
Yeah, it's all
Um,
about motion picture.
yeah, so I mean they also blend really easily. So your work on Vine was featured at the Cannes Lions Festival. What was that like?
it's another surreal moment when at the time, because I never think that my work can be appreciated that much, especially globally, and I never won any kind of contest before in my life, even though that I ever won for a drawing contest when I was kid. I never won anything, but somehow when I got news, the information that I won for one of my find, it's just like giving a sign that when I'm when I'm doing it something with my heart, with my passion, without thinking too much for I don't know, appreciation maybe. When I'm doing just for myself, it's always giving something else that I never think of before. So it's a surreal moment for me.
So earlier you said that you're lazy, and here's why I don't believe you. I've seen a lot of the work that you share online, including one project that you made with a homemade multiplane camera setup that you used to recreate a really complicated scene from Into the Spider-Verse with your kids. Yeah, that's the one. What was the idea behind the project, and why?
The the lazy itself is coming because I am lazy because I want to do something more simple. No. I'm still looking for the right words. Um, I'm lazy, but I'm willing to do it because I love it. You know, um, I think the right word is not lazy. I'm I'm not a patient person.
Hmm.
But if someone give me a task, give me some a difficult task that I cannot put my heart in it, I cannot do it. So because it's difficult. Even though that when I'm doing animation, when I'm doing this kind of vine, it's like it's because I'm very happy to do it. I don't need an effort to do it. I don't need I don't need lots of time to do it. I just doing it for my heart. It just it just give a sense that um can you help me because I'm lost in words.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where it's almost a state of play for you, right? Like
Yeah.
it, it's not about being lazy or being driven, but it's about you're doing an exploration.
Yeah. I'm doing it the easiest way, and I'm doing it because I love it. If I if if I don't put my heart in it, then it's become a very difficult situation. It's very challenging.
So
For
I've also seen you post projects that you made using like old Macintosh computers, Palm Pilots, a Nokia phone, a Game Boy camera. That one's personal to me. What draws you to classic hardware, and what makes you want to push these systems beyond their limits to make animation?
yeah, that kind of device is just like it's like a personal journey back in the when I was kid in the 80s, when the Macintosh was released. We cannot afford that kind of machine, but the moment I see it in my own eyes, the process, how we create drawing, how we create any creative process in that machine, it's fascinates me. So when I was kid, my question to the people who use that Macintosh is like, can I create animation with it? Uh, their answer is always yes, but they have that kind of mindset that when people making animation, it has to be like a Disney animation, full length with a special effect like a Star Wars. That kind of mindset making people that saying we cannot create that kind of animation in this machine. But again, as a kid, I have so many things and I have so many questions. What if we create animation with it? Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but not that good. That good itself for me, as long as we can create animation, it's good enough. And I haven't got any chance to answer my own question that time because we don't have any Macintosh. So when we moved here in the States, I start digging on the eBay looking for the old Macintosh, and I just doing it, and then I just doing it what I want to do back in when I was kids, and showing like, hey, it's doable. I can create animation with this machine, even though that it's only black and white, even though that is not as smooth as like computer animation back in the 80s or 90s, but it's doable. I can do it at my home, and my kids can help me. And because of the pixel art revolution is coming, it's just like it's like a mix and match. So when people doing like a pixel art, they are doing the modern computer, they're doing with the modern application or software. So I choose that I can do the pixel animation with the pixel art machine, with the old machine from the past. It's just like a answer to myself and answer to the people that I asked years ago that it's doable. I can do animation with the Nintendo Game Boy because it has camera. I can do with the palm top device because it has stylus. So for me, any kind of device at the time is a motion picture device. So it's doable. We just need to adjust the expectation. We need to adjust the mindset. That's all.
Yeah, and for our viewers who aren't familiar with these old platforms, when you say they were black and white, you don't mean, like a black and white movie where there's grayscale. You mean there are two colors, there's black and there's white, and if you want gray, you're gonna have to dither it.
Yeah, it's just like a combining between one pixel and another pixel, black and white, black and white, black and white. It create a pattern when we are looking for a bit far. Oh, it's gray, or it's half gray by a combination between each pixel. So I call it as a pixel netting process. We can do it automatically, or we can do it one by one, like a tick, 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 tick.
So, since you've revisited all of this classic hardware, has it given you any insight or an appreciation for how technology and tools for creating art have changed over the years?
Yeah, I mean, technology for me is like a solution for the problem. Um, when when the problem's already solved, we tend to moving forward with another problem and trying to another situation to create a solution. For me, technology is an alternative way to facing a problem, especially for in our field, a creative problem. So sometimes become too easy is not the answer for me. Sometimes we need to more giving more a challenge ourselves. We need to get more limitation to challenge ourselves and looking for another alternative solution. Because when, let's say, we are living now with so many internet connection and electricity, when everything goes off, can we do this kind of thing? Can we still doing 2D animation? Can we still doing a stop motion? So the limitation itself is like an exercise for me. It's like when it's just like we are doing jogging or doing a routine on the gym, make our muscle keep moving. So the limitation of the tech itself is not something absurd, but it's necessary for me to understand the real concept of the problem and the solution.
Yeah.
I'm not hating the I love new technology, but also at the same time I also love old technology, and they are compliant to each other. They are feeling to each other.
Well, one of the things I really like about Harmony is we still have a ton of features for taking animation that you've scanned on paper and taking it into the software, cleaning it up there. So if you want to do things the old-fashioned way, you still can. It's still still an option.
Yep. That's the reason I love the software, because of the traditional organics process still there.
Pinot, when did you first learn about Toon Boom Harmony?
I learned about I think it's 10 years ago when my college asked me to create an animation. It's just like I think that at the time there's only one way to create animation with a vector line, vector brush. And then I still using it for more like a presentation and also for the commercials, but not that much. But the moment I realized that Toon Boom has a bitmap brush, that's the moment when I feel like this is it. I'm going to use this software because it has a brush, it has a bitmap brush, it has more connection to the traditional process. It gives more like when we are doing a stroke, there's a small mistake in the beginning, in between. There's a small mistake. For some people cannot see but can feel that that's hand drawing. The moment I can do hand drawing style on the software, it's really connected really well.
Yeah, I mean, Harmony was built with a lot of tools that are very familiar to traditional animators. We have the X sheet or exposure sheet, which you can see X sheets that are 60 years old now. And we have pegs, which go back to when we used hole punch paper. So, I mean, it's definitely something that we've built our software around. I wanted to ask you, so one of the social platforms that you were really active on, Vine, has almost completely disappeared. While other services have stepped in to replace it, do you miss Vine as a community and as a platform for animation?
Yeah, I mean, I really miss. I more miss the Vine itself as a community, because at the time, um, the social video platform is already around for years. Like YouTube was beginning at the 2006, like Vimeo, and there's so many social media, social video app on the iPhone before 2013. But when Vine was released, it's just like everybody's looking at the one direction and focus into one playground. Everybody's playing there, and everybody's like having like a glimpse or idea that, hey, I can be a comedian in this platform. I can be a video game reviewer in this platform. And some of the creative community like animation and stop motion, suddenly they have something to build more personal into a platform, not just for full length animation, but also can do for social media. So there's like a possibility that never thought before. So I really miss as a community, because usually when we are doing something, we are doing a collaboration, and we are just giving another inspiration and then put another inspiration. So it's just like a big giant collaboration for people doing the same thing. But now we have so many alternatives, it's just like scattered everywhere. So it's just like there's no one focus here. So it's just like it's different. It's totally different.
Yeah, my memories of Vine are I remember there were a lot of people doing very creative work on the platform like yourself. And then there were a lot of people asking, okay, but like, what is this for? And I think that question allows for a lot of creativity, right? Where there's not necessarily a known purpose for it, but that means that a lot of people can use it to play as like almost a playground. Was that your experience?
Yeah. The my personal opinion about the Vine itself, it's because of its limitation. Um, for some people, the 6 seconds itself is not enough to tell a story. The limitation to just the we cannot put any kind of media from another source to that app and then posting it. We need to create something by the app itself. It's one of the limitations that really deal breaker for some people. But for me, that limitation is the gold mine. If I can do it, if I can challenge, if I can face the challenge, then hopefully I really see that the moment. I think the right word here is the limitation on wine is not a wall. The limitation is a door to give another opportunity to lead another new opportunity that people never thought before. So yeah, the 6 second and the limitation we cannot import. That's one of the gold mine of the porcupine.
Yeah. On a similar note, we got a question on the chat asking, when you only have 6 seconds, is there anything you do to keep your stories interesting and consistent, or to encourage yourself to keep animating?
Yeah, my main story is always about three different steps, three different sub stories on the animation, especially for the 6 second, because it's very short. So I divided it into three sections. One is the opening, just to tell people that something's about to happen, and the second is in the middle. It's just like a process that give a sense to people that it will end up into something, but they don't know yet. The third, the last one, is the surprise at the very end of the animation. So even though that we have only 6 seconds, we can still build that kind of stories. Opening, the middle, and the surprise. It's always the surprise.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit earlier about the difference between animation as magic, as something that a creator or something an audience looks at and they don't think about who the creator is. But then as as animation as a magic trick, where you're showing that there's a process and you're doing something to like surprise or delight them, but there's a lot of craft, there's a lot of sweat inside it.
Yeah, yeah, that's the reason why I keep posting the behind the scene of the process. I not very crazy to that term that animator or magician. I usually get mild insulted by people saying that you are a magician. No, I'm not. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm a live performer, and I can do magic to trick you on this live stream.
And that's what magic is, right? Like nobody has like a magic wand where they wave in the air and the broom gets up and starts sweeping on its own. Like it's all performance. It's all magic tricks.
It's all exercising. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have advice for animators who are interested in showing off their work and finding community online?
I think the best thing is to inspire other people outside from the animation profession, or any regular people that doesn't have any way of think how the animation works. So because now we are living in the social media, we can show something on the public space. So the audience itself is very broad. The spectrum is very wide. So when we are doing something on social media, everybody's looking at it and try to keep like again, it's just like a magic show. Just give them the magic show they want or they never expected before. And it doesn't have to be very long. It's 10 seconds. 30 seconds is too long. I mean, because now we are living in a very short span attention, because social media is not about a movie. It's not about a full length movie that can be watched for 1 hour. Because now we are living in a very small screen, in a very short way. Because when we have a story that's too long, people will get distracted with other activities. So
Yeah.
I think the best I think my advice is when anybody trying to create a story, try to be more simple and try to be more shorter and keep the surprise at the end.
Yeah, well, I hear a lot of criticism about social media platforms as, everything's really short and people have short attention spans. And, I can understand that criticism, but I think as a creator, one of the positive things is you don't need to make a 90-minute film. You can make a 6-second film and you can get an immediate reaction to that and you can keep making things.
Yeah, and the other benefit is we can be a one-person team. We are the animator, we are the producer, we are the director, we are the music creator, and we are the Instagrammer, we are the TikTokers. So it's just like a one person embedded into whole process embedded into one person, because it's very small, it's doable. And even though that everybody's criticized about the social media, for me it's like a portfolio. It's very easy or doable in the very short time. Because if we are talking about a 1 hour portfolio, we can only create in once a year. But because this is very short, so animators can create 2 or 3 materials in 1 month, and then keep doing it consistently, and then suddenly in the 1 year is already have a library of portfolio, and you can animators can share their portfolio to multiple client, potential client. That it's just like giving a menu, so many menu for the client to see. So I think that's the benefit of the social media.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're talking about how you're using like little clips to build up to something bigger, I remember when I think this was in February or January, but you were taking these little like rotoscope animations from across New York City, and you were syncing it up to "Take on Me" by Aha. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Take on Me itself, it's like I think it's just like it's like a Bible. It's like a faith. It's like I believe into something when I saw the music video back in the 80s. It's just like it connect me well with it has hand drawing, it has rotoscoping, it has music, it has a story, it has a comic, and everything is coming into one place, into one video. So if if people can see, my audience can see my work is always coming, that it's always connected to the Take on Me video. I got that so many comments that always one of them or two of them is always singing Take on Me in the comments, and it's just like a remind me that yes, it's similar, because of course I have the same inspiration.
So we're almost out of time for this conversation. So if you have questions for Pinot, now is the time to ask. We have a question in the chat, which is looking back on all of your projects, what is the favorite piece so far that you've made, and why is it your favorite?
I think that's the most difficult question. For me, especially for the short animation, where I made when I made at home, it's just like because every process I have faith in it, I have patience in it, I put my heart on it. So every project is my favorite, especially when a kid has contribution or involved with the process, with the brainstorming. Uh, any every single animation, even though it's only 6 seconds, it has different specialty. It has different story. It has different process. It has different emotion. Because every single animation is unique.
Yeah, when we were speaking earlier, you mentioned that your kids collaborate with your animation from time to time. What does that collaboration look like?
Because they are living in the very they are digital natives. They are living in a very digital uh, technology, surrounded by by software, by computers, by tablets. So when they collaborate or they jump into something when I'm doing something, they give me something different from what I thought. It's just like giving us something a different perspective. Their point of view is always leads into something about today or present. So 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 sometimes when they are saying about the idea from this meme, because now we are living in a meme era. So they just like they love, or maybe they are forwarding one of the meme and they are asking me to, can we develop into something like a 6-second video, can we develop into a small video, especially when we have this character, the chicken character, the clock itself. So it just like a giving a soul, giving another story. What if clock collaborate with this meme? What if clock is collaborate with these TikTokers? So that kind of conversation has never happened if I'm only working for myself. So it's like an interesting development.
Yeah, you mentioned the clucks, these little chickens, birds that you animate. I saw one you posted a little while ago where you're taking an animation study from Fantasia. I think it was like the mushroom dance.
Yeah, I haven't finished
You know,
yet.
where did that idea come from?
um, at the time, I think that's the moment when I really don't remember what kind of feature Toon Boom has at the time. So somehow in the process, I can create like a automatic in between for a small part. So because I love Fantasia, especially that part, and it's very funny. So I just create some of the keyframes without any in between, and then suddenly my kids saw the process, the very rough animation, then and they love it, and they just scream to the picture, and oh, so cute! It's just like giving an energy for me to feel any in between on the process. And again, I think I can answer that lazy animators question. The clock was built because 6 second point was really was here, and I'm trying to create a character that easy to bend, easy to move, without having so many complex anatomy or back and forth. So when I'm rotating, I'm still rotating the sphere, the ball. I only change the womb or maybe the eyes or the hand. But basically because again, in the quote, I'm a lazy animator, so this one's much easier for me to develop a story with my story with the 6 second, with the 10 second, without dealing with so many anatomy problem. And you know, I hope I hope that answered both
No, yeah,
questions.
it makes a lot of sense, and I mean, I think having a simple character that's very versatile is a strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to adapt so many ideas. Again, I have to challenge myself to create something, a story that a character needs to be easy to adjust with any kind of stories.
So, what are some of the situations that you've put your cluck in? I saw there was one where the cluck jumped off the page into the air and then landed back into the page.
Yeah, it's the technique itself is combining between 2D animation and 3D. So I use the with the camera, with the motion control. I put in the Dragon Frame software for stop motion capture. So the process itself, I start with the 2D animation. Again, there's no plan for it. I just want the chicken jump and then going back to the page. That's all. It's very raw. But I cook the idea in the process. So originally the clock was was drawing in the 2D animation, and then flip with the 2D animation, but cut. The paper is cutting with a different perspective of animation. But again, and the process when I'm doing on the Toon Boom, it's just like there's another idea, there's another solution that I have to going back again to the shooting, and then jumping back again to Toon Boom. It's a long process. It's a bit complex, not because of the technical standpoint, but it's more like a discussion between me and myself to create it more visible or easy to digest.
Yeah. What are some of the reasons why you give your audience so many views behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's part of the story, because the final animation itself has a one typical story, and behind the scene is the story that enriches the final story. It gives like a more in-depth how the human create something, how the technology helped me to create something, not just um, not just doing it instantly and then done. It's so how we are dealing with the limitation. It show us how it shows the audience about when we are dealing with the limitation. It's always solution to do it, and also it helps the audience to see that any magician has a process. Any magician has exercise to do. Any magician has a preparation on the stage before they put the bunny into the hat, before planning to put the pigeons behind the cloak. So it's just like it's just like uh, different side to story that any magician cannot reveal their secret, but rather to any magician should reveal their secret to show they are also human. They're not just magician with a magic wand, but they are human.
Yeah, I mean, that's also what you said about your dad, who showed you how he animated when you were a kid, and you're showing your kids how you animate, and they help you with your projects too. So I just think that's really nice.
Yeah.
So we are running out of time, but Pinot, where can our viewers find you online and find more of your work?
Uh, Everybody can check my Instagram under the same handle of Pinot, and also they can see my Vine live on online with the same handler too. It's vine.co/Pinot as well. I really happy that they still keep the vines on online.
Yeah, I'm glad they're still up. If you're watching this video and you want to try your hand at rotoscope animation, cutout animation, hand-drawn animation, or any other techniques, you can download a free trial of Harmony on our website at toonboom.com. We will also have a version of this interview on our blog at blog.toonboom.com. Make sure to join us next week for a Q&A with India Swift and Michael Doig about their Animorning Challenge, which pushes animators to improve on their craft. If you're a fan of the Knights of the Light Table, Game Grumps, TWRP, you won't want to miss out. So until next time.